City won the treble and we finally signed our man Josko Gvardiol is Manchester City's latest superstar signing, and I'm absolutely buzzing for this one, guys. Honestly, I've been waiting for this since Fab said those words, here we go, a couple of weeks back, and finally it has been completed, and trust me, you should be very excited about this wonderful 21-year-old Croatian defender. He is going to change your view of centre-backs, I'm almost certain. Well, maybe not under Guardiola, because anything is possible, but now we've got Gvardiol as well. As Pep said, a beautiful surname and a beautiful footballer, and he's going to be City's latest superstar. So today, I thought I'd talk about all the things that you need to know about him. Go through his background, the fee, his style of play, his position and role, his stats, his strengths, weaknesses, and all that kind of stuff. And maybe conclude this transfer is a good one for Manchester City Football Club. Spoiler, I think you know what I mean. I think you know what I feel about this already. And don't forget, if you are a fan of this kind of content, please do hit the like button, and please do help support the channel by hitting that subscribe button while you're down there as well. Leave a comment, it is massively appreciated and does help support the channel. So let's get started on our new man, Josko Gvardiol. Josko Gvardiol. Or the other one that's going around at the moment. I was looking for Croatians and all I found was Kovacic and Gvardiol. They're probably not going to catch on because I've just sung them, which has ruined him immediately, but they're in my head anyway. So who is Josko Gvardiol? He's a 21-year-old Croatian. He turns 22 in January, so he's still nice and young for a centre-back. Very young for a centre-back. 21 Croatia caps as well, with 2 goals to his name. And that surname, of course, has followed him around for an awful long time. He was actually known as Little Pep for a while, as a nod to Pep Guardiola. Understandably, you can see why. That was a fitting nickname as well when he was younger, because he did actually play an awful lot of roles as a kid as well. You've got a guy here, he's not just a centre-back. He once played in midfield for Zagreb as well, before the youth coach decided he was a defender, which is obviously a very Guardiola thing to do. A midfielder in defence, it's perfect. It's Pep down to a T. I love this quote as well that I saw from when I was doing my research from the Croatian head coach, 𝙏𝙬𝙚𝙀𝙧𝙚. He said, Gvardiol is the best central defender in the world. He's so mature. The way he plays, with the grace he controls the ball, it's amazing. I like that, man. I like that. Now, of course, he was at Zagreb and he moved to Leipzig in 21-22. And from since then, he's gone from strength to strength. He was already doing really well, already really famous with loads of big clubs watching him, until, of course, he had that wonderful World Cup with Croatia at 2022. We'll ignore the fact that Messi turned him at one point. It's Messi. It's Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi will do that to pretty much anyone in world football, because Lionel Messi is the greatest to ever play football. That can happen. There's no shame in that. But before that, he was absolutely excellent for Croatia, in an iconic mask as well, which obviously drew attention to him. And that surname definitely helps. And of course, we'll ignore the fact that he did have a pretty chastening experience against Manchester City Football Club when we beat Leipzig 7-0 once. That wasn't on him, by the way, that day. It absolutely wasn't, but it did happen. But either way, what we've got here is a 21-year-old defender, so he's really young. He's left-footed as well, can play left-back and left centre-back, and we've got him for a fee of around £77 million. Now, that is an awful lot of money. I cannot deny that. It isn't, though, a record for a centre-back. There was talk that Leipzig did want a record fee for a centre-back. They wanted €100 million, which would have been about 85 million quid or something like that. But, and this is where the big boys step into the room and actually do their work, Cheeky and Manchester City doubled down and said, no, we are not paying that money because we don't think he's worth the value. Everyone on Twitter was screaming, spend the money, do it, pay it. We should be paying whatever they want and all that kind of stuff. And City negotiated, haggled, and eventually they got him for around €90 million, which is still an awful lot of money, but it's significantly less, and it's £77 million. And importantly, and these things sort of matter to the optics, he isn't the most expensive defender ever. That is still Harry Maguire for around £80 million. Hopefully, Josko's going to be worth a damn sight more than that. Apparently, one of the reasons there's no add-ons is because City said, I tell you what we'll do, we'll arrange a friendly, and you can keep all the profits one summer. So we're going to have RB Leipzig Josko Gvardiol friendly one day, and that'll be just to pay off some of the demands and goodwill for RB Leipzig. But that fee, it is an awful lot of money. It's our second highest, obviously, ever. The third being Ruben Diaz. If he's anywhere near Ruben Diaz, that'd be wonderful. And of course, the first being Jack Grealish. Both now absolute key parts of this Manchester City side, and both treble winners. It's worth pointing out. So even though it's an awful lot of money, look, if you get 10 years out of Josko Gvardiol, you could get him forever. You could get him for the rest of his career or something like that. It'll be worth every single penny, given the quality that he could bring to this side. So let's talk about his style of football. So he is 6'1", so he's a good size already, and he does have a tendency to use his strength as you would do. As you notice on the photos of him, he is barrel-chested. This is a stocky boy. He's a strong player. He's rarely bullied off the ball by his opponents as a result. You'd expect like he knows what he's doing, to how to use his physicality. He's also learned as well in Eastern European football, in the Croatian league. That is a tough physical league. I was doing a bit of research, and it's known for toughening up players over there. I mean, the weather will do it to anyone in the Eastern European leagues. But that's another thing as well. He's obviously going to be used to pretty mid-weather every now and then over here, which he's also played in Germany as well, so very similar climates. In terms of his style, though, I mean, he's incredibly confident on the ball. He's so confident you will purr. If you watch him play football... Look, I'm going to tell you to do this after this video. I don't want you to go off this video, but there's a video in particular, which I can't really share on this channel because I don't want the channel to get taken down, if that's understandable. But there's a video of Josko Gvardiol dribbling like a winger, and it's ridiculous. A 5-minute compilation of Gvardiol just dribbling past players. This is a man you could tell at one point, and he said in his own words, he used to play right wing. Maybe they've got a new Mahrez replacement. I don't think so, by the way. But you can tell he has that comfortability to play anywhere. He's insanely comfortable bringing the ball out possession-wise. And he's insanely comfortable stepping past the defender and playing a free ball. Strong, powerful dribbler. Very good at the very Laporte-esque long passes. Direct balls into the channel for the forwards to play. You've got basically a defender who loves to get into physical battles. Very Ruben Diaz that way. Who loves to step into midfield. Very John Stones that way. He loves to dribble. Well, that's not, but maybe John Stones actually, but more like when Rodri starts to power forward a little bit and loves to pass it like Laporte. It just sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? I hope it isn't, but it seems scary as potential. And in terms of his position and role, well, as you can see here by this little heat map, he does tend to operate on the left of a back three at Leipzig. So he is encouraged to take up high and wide positions when his team are in possession. This heat map below was from the 2021-22 season. I found a lot of stats from that year, and obviously his position has slightly changed his style since then, but it's easy to see why City are drawn to this man. People would say, why are we signing Josko Gvardiol? Because we already have a whole bunch of centre-backs. I mean, as it currently stands, Laporte's there as well. I do think he'll go, but we got Ake, we've got Ruben Diaz, we've got Akanji, we've got Stones, we've got, Kyle Walker. We've got a whole bunch of players. Why do we need another centre-back? Well, I would turn around and say, like, this is going to be a potential improvement on how we play. I'm really reluctant to say he's just better than Nathan Ake. It feels a little bit harsh given Nathan Ake is literally a treble winner and was immense last season. But in some aspects of his game, he probably is just better. And I mean this with the greatest of respect. Look at John Stones' role in the Champions League final. Like, John Stones at the moment is a world-class level defender, but also easily our most comfortable in possession as a defender. The way he dribbles past people, the way he steps forward and goes past defenders, it's absolutely remarkable to witness John Stones in full flight. Now imagine two of them. Imagine another. Nathan Ake has been great as a defender. He's got forward really, really well. But I think Josko Gvardiol is much better going forward than Nathan Ake. And I mean this with the greatest respect. He's got a little bit more pace, I would argue. Way more comfortable at dribbling past people. Easily more comfortable as a passer, absolutely, and he has that tenacious aspect to his game like Nathan Ake. I tend to see centre backs previously as just defenders. Under Guardiola, I don't see that at all. It's really obvious to me that Guardiola's brought him in to improve down that left channel, to make City even more expressive and more creative. He's not just a defender. This guy has been brought in to help City beat the press, to help City open up space. If you've got a centre-back that can dribble past a defender or two, that takes defenders out the game. That leaves space for Jack Grealish. That leaves space for Phil Foden, Bernardo, Kevin De Bruyne, and the other wingers, whoever we may sign. It leaves leaves space for our attackers. If you've got that, it's another tool to your arsenal. If you've got his instinctive long balls or through balls to Erling Haaland, it's another tool for the Arsenal, well, against Arsenal maybe. It's another tool to get at teams. I think Guardiola knows that this season it's going to be very hard, even harder, as treble winners, to not have teams sit back and defend against you. So if you've got a guy who's great in the air, we've seen him score headers against Ruben Diaz. Great in the air, you can play through balls, you can dribble, but also defend like Nathan Ake or Ruben Diaz. You've got another defensive asset, but you've got another attacking asset. And that is why we're signing him. A 21-year-old, left-footed, all-conquering, dribbling, attacking centre-back. He reminds me a bit of Piqué that way at Barcelona. Maybe Guardiola wants the next Piqué, you know. This guy is going to come forward and play 1-2s with De Bruyne and Phil Foden. It sounds absolutely wonderful. I mean, obviously as well, he's left-footed, which makes so much sense. It makes so much sense to Manchester City. So, when you think why? Well, because we need a report replacement because he'll move on. And also, we need someone to challenge Ake and maybe improve him. Maybe he's our new left-back. Like, nominally going to start on the left because he can get forward so naturally there and also play the left centre-back role. Maybe one day even play the inverted role. He's just so versatile potentially. Guardiola's going to have so much fun with him and I can't wait to see how he gets on. In terms of his stats, there's a couple of little things here. I'm going to put this on screen right now. Just this little squawker stat here that they pulled out. He's compared to centre-backs currently aged 23 and under, since 21-22 in Europe's Big Five leagues, he has the most through balls attempted, most take-ons completed, the second most final third entries, so that means dribbling into the final third of the pitch. The third most possession won in the middle third of the pitch, which means he's aggressive at pressing and winning the ball. And the ninth most duels won. He's literally an attacker, man. Look at that. Through balls. Look at those take-ons completed. Absolutely ridiculous. Final third entries. And you can see there as well on that graphic, where he sort of plays down that left side of the pitch. This man is not afraid to get forward. I also, and this is a ridiculous stat, now pay attention to this, no player, I don't mean no defender, no player, no midfielder, attacker, whoever, had a better dribble success rate than Josko Gvardiol in the Bundesliga last season. 88.9%. Josko Gvardiol had the best dribble success rate of any player in the Bundesliga last season. That is ridiculous. Obviously, he would have attempted less than the wingers, but still, that is absolutely ridiculous. That says it all for you. Absolutely says it all, and it's ridiculous. Look at this stat here as well. This is once again from the 21-22 season. I haven't got them from from last year, but I have got some more stats in a minute. This is progressive runs and progressive passes. In the 21-22 season, Gvardiol was ranked first in progressive passes amongst per 90 amongst centre-backs in Europe's top 5 leagues. I mean, that says it all. Progressive runs, you see Laporte right down the other end of that as well. I think he's even gone up actually quite a bit since then as well. I would love to see where Stones is based off last season. But as you can see there, Gvardiol, progressive passes right at the top of that chart. Laporte at the other end, but I think Gvardiol would have gone up more if you based it off last season. Ruben Diaz somewhere in the middle there. He probably would have gone up more too as well. And then you get to this massive comparison, which I've done personally over on Squawker. And you see all these stats here. The thing that stands out to me is interesting, by the way. I've drawn up 16 categories. As you can notice, there's a star next to his name in 11 of them. So you've got I don't know what the optimal performance index is, but as it currently stands, he's second there behind John Stones. A better optimal performance index based on last season's performances than Ake, Diaz and Akanji, second there. The most ball recoveries, 7 to 4.7 to 4.5 to 4.4 to 5.4. Now, of course, naturally, we'll do a little bit more at Leipzig doing that. Let me have a sip of my coffee, 1 second. But it shows how aggressive he's in recovering the ball. Averages the most goals per 90, which is also tied with Ake and John Stones. The most shots per 90 by 0.2 more than the rest of them, which is interesting because it shows his attacking nature. The most chances created as well, alongside Nathan Ake there, 0.5, which is ahead of Diaz and Akanji and Stones. In terms of passes attempted per 90, it's 88.7, which is behind Diaz that way, but right up there in second place, which shows he does attempt an awful lot of passes. And when you attempt a lot of passes, you want to see a high pass accuracy. It is the lowest out of the three, but it is still pushing 90%, and that will go up, of course, more at Manchester City. It's more than good enough for Manchester City. His successful long passes is excellent. 6.1 per 90 compared to the next highest of 3.2. This guy likes to play long passes, likes to play long diagonals, and he likes to play them well, apparently. It's wonderful stuff. And he also is up there as well with through balls attempted, 0.1 per 90 with the other defenders. He contests 7.1 duels per game as well, which is higher than any other player. The second highest is Ruben Diaz at 6.3. And look at this one here. His take-ons completed, 0.8 per 90. The next highest is Ruben Diaz at 0.5. Ridiculous. Stones will go up a lot, I reckon, there as well. His aerial duels contested is 3.2 per 90. I think Diaz is the best there. And his success rate is only 55%, which is not the highest. It's better than 𝙤𝙬𝙨𝙩𝙖𝙬 at 41%, though. And 3.9 ground duels contested and 2.21 per 90, which is the best in those categories. And 0.8 blocks per 90 is the best in those categories as well. These are high stats against high-level players. And he's coming out at the very best in those categories. Now, of course, there's more defending to do at Leipzig than City will do, because he has to do an awful lot more work. But it's so impressive, and it's hard to deny that. I mean, it's really, really, really impressive stuff from Josko Gvardiol. So, I've said all this impressive stuff. Is there any concerns from this guy? As I said, his defensive, his aerial ability isn't the very best. It isn't the very best, you know. This is a graphic from 21-22. It's not terrible, but it shows that there is a little bit of work to do there, you know. It's right in the middle. He's not the most aerially dominant defender, which probably explains why teams tend to use him on the left of a back three, so he doesn't have to do as much aerial work. But he's still decent at it. As you can see, he's in the middle of the group right there. He's not the top best, but he's not the worst either by a long way. He's still ahead of Laporte on that graphic, of course. Around like Koulibaly and Bastoni and 𝙏𝙬𝙚𝙀. It's a good place to be. And he is also, does have a tendency occasionally to do like a Hollywood pass. Sometimes after an interception, he can force it a tiny bit. Gvardiol is definitely going to have to rein him in a tiny bit, because it can disrupt the flow and tempo of Manchester City's game potentially, and maybe even lead to counters if he gets a little bit giddy and goes dribbling past a few people and forgets that he has responsibilities as a Manchester City defender. And he is only young as well. It's an awful lot of money for his age. Could that unsettle him a little bit? It's very possible, you know. Could it also unsettle Ake a tiny bit? Ake, 𝙤𝙬𝙨𝙯, Stones, Diaz, they all have a right to be in that team given what they've achieved at Manchester City. They are immortals now at Manchester City. They are treble winners. So it could be that it's just a bit too much, you know. It could be a bit too much to ask them to sit back and be second best now. I hope it isn't, but we will see. We will see. Overall, we have an elite player here. Josko Gvardiol is a superstar, in my opinion. Haaland was the pinnacle of young strikers in world football. Josko Gvardiol is the pinnacle of young defenders in world football. He is a superstar in the making, like Erling Haaland. He isn't the most exciting signing because he's a centre-back, and centre-backs aren't always going to get your blood going. I get it. But I think they should in this instance. Gvardiol, we've signed a guy here who could be one of the best centre-backs potentially ever if he reaches potential. Under Guardiola, this man, the sky is truly the limit. I'm absolutely buzzing to see how he fits into this system. And I do think he improves this 11 potentially. He is an absolute elite player, and he could go on to be a truly special player. And that, to me, is worth getting excited about. Josko Gvardiol is a Manchester City footballer, and I'm absolutely delighted. I cannot wait to see him long up alongside Diaz, Stones, Ake, 𝙤𝙬𝙨𝙯, the rest of them. He's going to be immense at this team, and I can't wait. Welcome to Manchester City, Josko Gvardiol. Guys, I hope you're excited about our new signing. Do let me know down in the comments what you make of the beautiful, wonderful Croatian. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll catch you very soon for more Josko Gvardiol content. We've got a man, and he's wonderful. See you later.